What's up, sports fans? Welcome to the Sports Opinions podcast live stream. I am your host, as always, Alex Cuesta. This is a fun one. This is something. Time we did this, we were on both Spreaker and Facebook Live. This time we are adding the element of YouTube Live. So everyone out there on YouTube, what's going on? If you've been paying attention, if you've been following these at all, you know this one is a fun interactive one where I fly solo, but I try to interact with someone that wants to leave any comments. Go ahead, throw it on either Facebook, YouTube, text me, tweet me, give me a call if you want to actually be on. That's fun. And if I'm looking down at something, usually because I'm checking my phone to check up with anything to see if anyone has commented. A really good time for me. I enjoy them. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start. I'm going to monitor the Yankees and Sox game all day. All podcasts. We have a lot to get through. I'm going to try and fit it into just about this 1 hour. And I see Joe Kane has joined. Joe, it was your birthday. I think it was. But Yankees and Sox are underway. Let's see where they're at. They started their game. I know the Yankees are struggling. They're down 5-0. J.A. Happ gave up 5 big runs. It's top 4. Sale's still in. The Yankees need to get it going because my man on the fan, Jerry Recco, predicted a sweep in 3 games, and that's probably not going to happen if this keeps going the way it is. So we're just going to hope and pray that the Yankees can win that game. Now, it's a tough one for the Yanks because as much as they're healthy, they split the series, but the Yankees in the end of the season have not been the better team. The better team has really been Boston all year. Boston won 108 games. The Yankees won 100. But the Yankees don't have the starting staff that Boston has. What's up, Rachel? How are you? But it's a tough one. It's a tough one for the Yanks. I want my Yanks to win. I'm obviously repping the Yankees here today. But I'll admit that this is a tough one. They have the starters. They have the better starters on their roster. They have Sale, who's going tonight. He's pitching pretty damn well. He's shutting the Yankees out. They also have David Price, who can't pitch against the Yankees for some reason, but who knows? He might get it together during this series, and that would be really, really, really crappy for the Yankees. And just in general, the Sox have a great team. They have a really great team. My wife, Julie. What's up, Jewel? How are you? She's in here. Rick, what's going on, buddy? I know you're a sports fan. Henderson, how are you, bud? Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. So this is a tough go for the Yankees. The Yankees are in a real tough spot with the Sox. Like I said, we're going to continue to monitor this game, and I'll give you updates as it goes on throughout this hour. But one thing I do want to talk about, I mentioned the starters for the Yankees and even the Red Sox. But if you're paying attention to baseball, if you've seen the trend, the starter is going downhill. I'd like to call it the death of the starting pitcher because since the 80s, with the time of the Tom Seavers and even the Roger Clemens, guys don't pitch as many pitches. They don't pitch as many innings, and it's getting shorter and shorter. And what's up, Alex? How's it going, buddy? And we see that the trend with teams putting together basically bullpen games. We saw the A's try to do that against the Yankees, and it backfired. But I think that's the way that baseball is going, where you basically are going to have 2 pitchers, both of them going 3 innings to start the games, and it's just going to be a cluster. It's not going to be great to watch. You're going to have 2 guys go 3 innings, get through 6, and then you're going to have the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning pitchers. I really, really don't think that we're going to be seeing starters going for that much longer in the game of baseball. And it's really, really sad to see because, starters have been such a big part of the game. They really are a massive, massive part of the game. Great starters are something that's hard to come. You really can't find too many great starters in the game. Just look at it. The Yankees, they have Luis Severino, who is super inconsistent. Tanaka, super inconsistent. They brought in J.A. Happ just specifically to beat the Sox. He's not doing that. It's really tough to find good starters. And it's just, they're just not out there. Melissa, what's going on? I hope Kenny's sitting there watching it with you. We better be. Um, but just starters in the game in general are tough to come by, and I really think we're going to be going the way in baseball of the bullpen is just going to be king. The bullpen's going to be king. They're going to be the ones that make up all the games. Lauren, what's going on? How are you? They're going to be the ones that make up all the games, and they are going to be the dominant parts of baseball. Another thing that I want to jump on. So, hey, Danielle, what's going on? Another thing I want to jump on is the theory of what I like to call it's the theory of the knowledgeable fan. I absolutely hate hearing that phrase. Anytime I hear that a fan base is knowledgeable, it just pisses me off. I don't even know what that means. It's spoken a lot about Yankees, our fan group. It's spoken a lot. Nick, what's up, buddy? James, Danielle, hello, everybody. But it's spoken a lot about Yankees. There's a lot about Knicks fans, about certain groups that are specific to the sport that they're in, and saying that, oh, they're knowledgeable fans. They're really good. Let's cut through the bullcrap right now. There's a lot of knowledgeable fans in every single fan base. I don't care where they are, who they are, what they are. You know, the Carolina Panthers aren't known for having the most knowledgeable fan base, but you heard Brittany Schmidt on my podcast not a little while ago. She's about as knowledgeable as it gets in football, and she's a Panthers fan. And most people aren't going to associate the Panthers with knowledgeable fans. So the whole knowledgeable fan theory, I think, is an absolute joke. I hate it. I hate that theory. I just think it needs to stop being a thing. Knowledgeable fans aren't specific. Hey, what's up, Katie? Erica, what's going on? Knowledgeable fans aren't specific to one team or a certain amount of teams. I think there's knowledgeable fans everywhere. If you guys have any opinions on fans being knowledgeable or fan groups, if you think I'm completely wrong about this, go ahead, leave a comment, a tweet, something like that. Let me know that I'm completely wrong. Or if you agree, let me know about that and throw in your 2 cents. I'd love to hear anything about it. All right, so we're moving kind of quick here, but that's not a bad thing. We're going to jump into some UFC. If my buddy Rudy is out there, he'd be really, really happy. But tomorrow night, UFC has a massive event going on. Probably the biggest event in UFC history so far. It's the return of Conor McGregor. What about Boston Red Sox fans, Danielle? Red Sox fans, they're a mixed bag because I have some Boston fans and they're not what you see all the time. I'm not a big fan of Boston fans in general, but that's because I'm a New York fan. But there are plenty of knowledgeable Boston fans. They are true fanatics, though. I really equate Boston fans to Philly fans. They're super fanatical. They are pretty damn crazy about their teams, and that drives them to do some ridiculous stuff. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. There's some fireworks going off somewhere. I think Marist is going nuts shooting off fireworks. So if you hear a lot of booms, no, there isn't a war zone going on. It's fireworks. But anyway, back to the Sox fans. They're passionate. I'll give them that. They are passionate. I think delusional at times. They're a great team this year, but I think they're delusional at times that they think that somehow they're still the underdogs against the Yankees and that the Yankees are still the evil empire when Boston's payroll, I think, is just as high as the Yankees this year, if not higher. So Boston fans are a little bit on their horse because of their history and they love playing the underdog role. But no doubt that they have, like every fan group, a group of knowledgeable, super knowledgeable baseball fans that are dedicated. And then they also have their idiots, like every fan base. Believe me, being a Yankees fan, plenty of idiot Yankee fans that know little to nothing besides the fact that they have 26 rings. And that's all that they'll yell at you. And those are the fans that everybody hates. Jumping back into UFC, biggest event probably in the history of UFC is going on tomorrow night, Saturday. It is the return of Conor McGregor since his suspension, since he threw a handcart into the window of a bus, injuring Khabib, who he is fighting tomorrow night, injuring his contestant. Dana White had to suspend him. He stripped him of all of his titles. I think it was just a really, really, really big ruse. I think it was all orchestrated, and that basically Dana White, Conor McGregor knew what they were doing. It was a publicity stunt the whole time. I don't think it was meant to hurt anybody, but I really think it was a publicity stunt the whole time to get Conor back on top. He was fresh off of getting his ass beat by Floyd Mayweather in the boxing ring. I don't care what anyone has to say. Floyd could have picked him apart at any time. Hey, Mom, what's going on? Floyd could have picked him apart at any time. Floyd had money on himself to win in the 10th round. It is the only reason that the McGregor even lasted 10 rounds. Floyd could have dismantled him at any time. Chuck, Chip, what's going on, guys? Any opinion you guys got about sports or anything I'm saying, drop it in there. But I really think that Floyd could have dismantled McGregor whenever he wanted. He bet money on himself to win. He's a smart guy. And just like anyone says, if Floyd enters the octagon, McGregor will whoop his ass in a round, and I completely agree with that. Back to the task at hand, McGregor versus Khabib. I hear a lot of people going, oh, Khabib's going to kick his ass. Khabib is going to, take him out. McGregor's going to lose. Khabib's 23-0. He's great on the ground. I'm hearing a lot of this stuff. And it happens a lot when superstars, great athletes are out of the spotlight for a while. People really, really, really tend to forget just how good, talented they are. And it's pretty crazy how good they are. Guys like Conor McGregor, who dominated a weight class so much that he had to jump up basically 2 weight classes to fight Diaz, lost one, won the other. It's something to be said. They talk about boxers constantly. When they're beating up on their weight class, they want them to go up and fight. McGregor did that. And McGregor ended up winning a match at a higher weight class. He was bored with his group. And then he went through his stunt. He went to boxing. He's a big celebrity now. He got his celebrity going, and he's taken full advantage of it. But don't forget that the guy literally took the UFC by storm. He was an unbelievable fighter. He has amazing bravado. He's great on a mic. The guy has a future in WWE if he wants it. But in his current situation, he's still the biggest ticket fighter that the UFC has, and he still might be the best fighter that UFC has. Khabib gets the recency bias right now. McGregor has done a great job crafting himself as either you love him or you hate him. He's either your hero or he's either a villain. There is really no in between when it comes to Conor McGregor. He's such a polarizing figure, and it's awesome for the UFC. It really is a good thing. But I really see the recency bias coming in right now, where people that watch UFC, that are dedicated to it, and even the casual fan that occasionally watches it, maybe will get a big pay-per-view, just going, oh, Khabib's going to win, Khabib's going to win. Recency bias. They know Khabib's great. 23-0. He only has 8 knockouts. He's a technical dude. But we've seen plenty technical dudes that have come against McGregor. We've seen plenty really talented guys that have stepped up to McGregor. And McGregor has stepped up almost every single time and knocked him out. McGregor has an outrageous number of knockouts. I think he has like 16 or 17 knockouts out of his like 28 wins to his ledger, which that number is insane. He is a super talented fighter. He's a great striker. And he's also smart. You think this is going to be the first really, really talented, basically wrestler or ground guy that's going to go at him? No. He knows how to defend those guys. His ground game has gotten significantly better, especially after he got tapped out to Diaz the first time. He really went to work on his ground game, and he worked hard to make it better. And just discounting the fact that Conor McGregor was as great as he was is a really, really, really big mistake. McGregor is great. He still is great. He's going to end great. My personal prediction for this fight tomorrow night is that we are going to see McGregor win this fight in 3 rounds. I think he's going to knock Khabib out in 3 rounds. I know people are going to probably scoff at that. They're going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. And I will readily admit that I am not a UFC faithful guy. I'm not a psycho about UFC. But I do know a little bit of something. I pay attention enough. And I also understand the bias against people when they haven't been in the light for a while. We see it in the NBA with Kawhi Leonard. People forget how good Kawhi Leonard was as a Spur. And now he's in Toronto, and during the preseason, he's showing it. People were doubting that this guy is one of the top 5 two-way players in the NBA, or just top 5 players in general. Eric, what's going on, buddy? People were doubting that. But the truth is, Kawhi Leonard is one of the top 5 players in the NBA. The Toronto Raptors did get that much better. And the recency bias against him and against his actions in San Antonio brought his star down a little bit. But the reality is, he's great. Conor McGregor is still an unbelievable fighter, and he's going to beat Khabib. And I know my buddy Wally, if you're out there watching this or listening, you're probably happy that I'm predicting Conor. You're a big Conor guy. I know my buddy Will Solis, you're a big Conor guy. There's a few of them that I know that are just massive Conor dudes, but it's something that, you can't forget. Will Floyd ever step in the octagon? Well, there actually was a structure set up for him to fight in the octagon, but it was the dumbest structure of all time. They had made a deal. I think the deal is still there on paper that Floyd is going to get into the octagon against McGregor, but there is going to be no shots, no kicks. It's going to be all stand-up game. But Conor's now going to have the leeway to do a lot more. He's not going to have to stick to the strict rules of boxing. But the bottom line is, Floyd is setting it up so that he will not have to get to the ground, so that he won't have to do the true MMA. It's not going to be a true UFC, a true MMA match. Floyd is going to get his way. He's going to do a stand-up type of fight against McGregor if it ever does happen. I know it's in on paper, but God knows if it's ever really going to happen. But if it does, it's going to basically be like a boxing match in the octagon. Now, McGregor might have the advantage solely because it is less rules than boxing. He's going to be able to do more. I think he's going to be able to do top grapples on the arms and stuff like that, but I don't think he's going to be able to bring him down to the mat. It's a really weird format. There's an article on it if you want to look it up. But there is a structure there for Floyd to get into the octagon, but to truly get into the octagon and fight true UFC fashion, no. We'll never see Floyd do that. Floyd's not dumb enough to do that. He actually is set up to fight Pacquiao again, which people are going to watch. My interest level in it is not super high to see Floyd and Pacquiao go at it again. Unless Pac-Man is 100% healthy. He was robbed in the Horn fight, which was on ESPN. It was a great fight. Pacquiao put on a show. But Pacquiao's thing was power. He was a power puncher, a power fighter. He was quick, he was fast, and he'd knock you out. His quickness is still there. His execution of his punches are still there. He lacks the power. So seeing an offensive guy like Pacquiao fighting Mayweather, who's a defensive counterpunch specialist and a genius at it. But when you add the fact that Pacquiao doesn't have the power that he has, it makes it a little more of a boring fight, and it makes it easier on Floyd. Courtney, what's going on? Welcome to the show. But it makes it an easier fight for Floyd. That fight's going to happen. I still think Floyd wins that fight. I think he beats Pacquiao because Pacquiao is now significantly older again since they fought again. He has another loss on his ledger. Pacquiao just needs to retire and just go full-time into politics, which he is a politician over in his home country. So, yeah. So it's weird. If we see Floyd and Conor in the octagon, like I said, it's going to be a weird setup. But the one thing it will do is it will be an absolutely massive payday. It will easily be the biggest purse in the history of the UFC because there is not a single way that Floyd is fighting for anything less than $200 million. He made $300 million in his fight against Conor, and that was the largest purse, I think, of all time. And he also bet on himself to win in the 10th round. I think he put an outrageous number of money on that. And he won, and he made his money, and he made also his $300 million. I know Conor made $100 million, which is easily the biggest payday he's ever seen. UFC does not dole out that type of money. But they're going to have to figure out a way if they want to get Floyd in the ring. And I think that's going to be the real holdup, is going to be how much Floyd would win if he ends up being the winner, or how much he would get in a loss. Because Floyd is not going to accept, I'll put it this way, I think he would step in if he gets $100 million guaranteed, period. If they can't guarantee him $100 million purse, win or loss, you won't see Floyd in the ring. Floyd doesn't do anything unless it's about money, and I can't blame the guy. His sport is beating the hell out of his body, literally getting punched in the face. So if you're going to go in there and you're going to mangle my face, then you better be paying me. I cannot blame Floyd Mayweather for what he does there. But yeah, ultimately my prediction I'll give you predictions for both. My prediction for McGregor-Khabib is McGregor in 3 rounds knockout. My prediction for Floyd and Pacquiao, I think Floyd's going to sense Pacquiao get tired. He's going to be older. I think the fight will be stopped in either the 9th or the 10th round. I think he'll stop him as a TKO, or the ref will just stop it for Pacquiao's safety. And if we ever see Conor and Floyd get in the ring, the octagon, I mean, then I think we're going to see McGregor win. There'll be a 3-round exhibition, but I think it'll be 2 rounds because McGregor will win because he could be significantly more aggressive in the octagon setting, and he doesn't have to follow the strict rules that boxing has. Shifting gears onto some NFL. NFL has been absolutely crazy. It's the year of the Bizarro teams. We saw Bizarro Ryan Fitzpatrick the first 3 weeks. He came down to earth last week, finally. But he was unbelievable for the first 3 weeks for the Tampa Bay Bucks. We've seen the Bizarro Blake Bortles with the Jacksonville Jaguars leading them to a 4-0 start, or 3-1, sorry, 3-1 start, but he's been unbelievable this year. And we see Patty Mahomes, who is essentially a rookie. He's a second-year player, but he didn't play. He played like 3 snaps last year, but he's essentially a rookie, taking the league by storm. It's crazy. This week, we're going to find out who the best team in the AFC is. I know the Patriots look like they're getting it together, but record-wise, 3-2 would not put them as the best team in the AFC. The Jaguars are playing the Chiefs this week. We will find out who the best team in the AFC is right there early in the season, at least. Colt, what's up, buddy? Early in the season, we'll find out who it is. I think the Chiefs are a better team than the Jaguars. The Jaguars have an unbelievable defense. And Houston's defense isn't great, but I like Patrick Mahomes and his poise. I like Kareem Hunt. I like Hill. I like Sammy Watkins more than I like the weapons on offense for the Jags. I like them better than Bortles. I like them better than Dede Westbrook. I like them better than Cole and the other guys over there. Even though they're rising players, Bortles is playing well, but I just think that those are the 2 teams that are going at it. The Steelers are not in the conversation right now. The funny thing is the Ravens are probably the best team in that division at the moment, Colt. And the Bengals are sitting there in second. And I think the Steelers are in third at the moment. Things can change. We're only a quarter of the way through, but that's the way I see the division right now if you're power ranking them. The Ravens have played the best ball, and then you've seen Andy Dalton being able to lead the Bengals to good games, and the Steelers are still struggling to find themselves. But the good news for the Steelers, Colt, is that Le'Veon Bell will be back, so we'll see. And yes, Denver should have won, I guess, if he makes a good throw, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. The Steelers have had plenty of coulda, shoulda, woulda wins, and you know that, or coulda, shoulda, woulda losses, like when Jesse James was robbed of touchdowns. But let's see. You asked, how am I, Colton? I'm good. I'm doing the live show. You know I love doing this, brother. And if anyone doesn't know Colton Gesser, he's been on the show plenty of times. He's a great friend of the podcast. He actually worked. He did radio for OCC Radio, Sports Talk. So he's a guy that is up and coming in the business. You'll be hearing Colton Gesser's voice at some point doing some sports thing. Whether or not it's taking over for me when I eventually want to hang this up, I don't know. But I doubt I'll be doing that in a long time. But overall, best team. Oh, let's see, Danielle. Opinion on Sam Darnold. Do I believe he is a resurrected Mark Sanchez coming from USC? Nick. I was scared. I was scared when I saw that the Jets were really going for another UFC quarterback. West Coast quarterbacks scare me when they come over to the East Coast or to the northern part of the United States, or even up into the friggin' Northwest, because it's a different element. When they're in USC, they're in Southern California. It is absolute paradise 99% of the time. They play football year-round there. They do their indoor sports. They're in terms of track with me, we have outdoor track and indoor track. You ask a California person, they have no idea what the hell indoor track is unless they become a big-time runner and they travel. So Darnold, and I'm not a bandwagon fan, Julie. I'm explaining to the people. My wife always ragging on me because I was not high on Darnold coming out. But here are my reasonings. Hi, Melissa. But I wasn't high on Darnold because I wasn't high on USC quarterbacks coming out to the East Coast. Did I think he was going to be a Mark Sanchez 2.0? No. Mark Sanchez, to me, he was good in college. He was a 1-year starter. Darnold was a 2-year starter. That's a major difference. Sanchez to me never had a great arm. He could make the throws, but he couldn't make them great. Darnold has a significantly better arm. If you watch their technique, their feet, Darnold has a lot better feet. Sanchez is probably a more mobile guy, but Darnold also is mobile. He could throw on the run, but Darnold mechanically was just better. And if you just look at his demeanor is just overall better. Sanchez would do something wrong and you would see on his face that he was sad or that he was down and he looked that way. So it wasn't, you read everything on him, where Darnold is even keeled. Darnold has made some awful throws, but when he walks off the field, he's not pouting. He kind of has the Eli Manning to him, where it doesn't matter what's going on. He's never too high, never too low. Now, he doesn't have no emotion at all like Eli Manning. Eli Manning doesn't have a single emotional bone in his body. When he smiles, he looks like he's in pain. But he has that factor about him where he's cool under every situation. I still wasn't high on him because he was a turnover machine his senior year. I think he had like 20 turnovers, and that was a combination between his interceptions and his fumbles. And when you're at one of the biggest schools in the nation, USC, with some of the best athletes around, and you're playing in the Pac-12, which is a weak conference right now, you shouldn't be turning the ball over that much. And we're seeing that in the pro level right now. We're seeing him televise some throws, trust his arm a little bit too much, and that could be a rookie not really understanding the speed of the game and just how fast everyone is in the NFL. Or it could be just who Sam Darnold is, a talented quarterback, and there's no doubt he's talented. But he could just be a talented quarterback that's prone to turnovers and taking chances. There's been guys like that last forever in the league, a la Brett Favre. Brett Favre had a cannon of an arm, ridiculous accuracy, trusted his arm a little too much because he threw a boatload of interceptions and he took a lot of chances. But he also won a championship as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play the game. I think that's going to be what we get a little bit with Darnold. I don't think he's Mark Sanchez because I don't think he's ever going to lose his confidence like Mark Sanchez did. I always think that Sam Darnold is going to believe that he's going to win the game. It doesn't matter if he throws 5 picks in that game. He'll still believe that he has the talent to win that game and come back. That's one thing that I like about Darnold. I think that him and Sanchez are completely uncomparable. Darnold is miles ahead of Sanchez was even at his peak already. So at this point, Julie specifically, not a bandwagon fan. He's on my team. He's my quarterback. I'm going to back him up. And he's growing on me the more I watch him, and just the more I watch the way he handles himself, more than how he plays. Just how he handles himself impresses me. So I really like what I see out of Sam Darnold, even with all the interceptions and the losses. Going to be a tough year. I think Peyton Manning threw like 25 interceptions his first season, and Peyton Manning's one of the best of all time. So we'll see how it goes. If anything, being a Jets fan, it's not going to work out because nothing works out for the Jets, but I can hope. I really can. And I'm reading on the sidebar here, Colton says that he's going to apply for the Fan this summer. For those of you that don't know, Sports Radio 66, 1019 FM, the Fan is a sports talk show radio that is specifically for New York. Colton will be interesting on there because he's a massive Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and nobody in their right mind in this area really likes the Pittsburgh Steelers besides him and Rob Planter's dad. They're both Steelers fans. I don't understand it, but good for you guys. And Colt, I hope you get the job. Mayfield versus Manziel opinion. There is no comparison for me. Manziel, first off, was a rich oil trust fund baby who played football for fun, was talented, had a good arm, good mobility, but he always just had that chip on his shoulder that he didn't need the sport, that the school needed him. He was just doing it for fun. Where Baker Mayfield is a workhorse and a grinded out grit type of player. You saw it when he played in college. He had the bravado. Yes, he has similarities about his cockiness and about his confidence, but I think he lies on the lines of more confidence and not cocky, where Manziel was uber cocky, didn't care, only wanted a party, only wanted the celebrity, only wanted the women, the drinking, and all that. Manziel wants to win football games. He's into Cleveland in a completely different mindset than what Manziel was. Mayfield wants to go in there and prove as an undersized guy that he could be great. And Mayfield has a better arm than Manziel. Mayfield has a freaking cannon, and he's probably the most accurate quarterback that came out, and that you can't teach accuracy. Manziel's college highlights are absolutely unreal. He was an Alabama killer, which college football for being in Alabama, he was the only guy that could beat Alabama when at Alabama's peak. They could not prepare for Johnny Manziel. But the thing about Johnny Manziel and his college highlights is it's just that. We've seen great college players be great in college and not translate to the NFL. Manziel's style was never going to translate to the NFL because bottom line, he wasn't athletic enough. He wasn't fast enough. He wasn't quick enough. He wasn't. Baker Mayfield's probably more athletic than Johnny Manziel was, and that's ridiculous to say, but it's just in the way that they use it. Manziel kind of did Michael Vick's style, but without Michael Vick's athleticism and without Michael Vick's cannon. One thing that Michael Vick had going for him is he was the best athlete on the field every single time, and he had the strongest arm in football. His accuracy wasn't great, but nobody moved like Michael Vick behind that pocket. And Manziel tried to emulate that, but Manziel just didn't have the athletic factor. And in the NFL, where the big fat defensive linemen are running 4.8 40s, you're not running away from it. I think Manziel only ran like a 4.7, 4.8. So it's not like he was super impressive. I'm not knocking Manziel completely. I'm just making the comparisons. I actually was a fan of Manziel. I used Manziel and Madden when I played, and I won a few championships with Cleveland with Manziel, which is kind of funny. But it's the comparisons. The only comparison you can see is kind of in the moxie of those two guys, but in terms of the people that they are, just one example. Baker Mayfield decided that I listen to sports talk radio a lot, and I like Colin Cowherd. I like The Herd. It's on Fox Sports Radio. And Colin Cowherd challenges guys all the time. He'll say anything, but he'll also challenge him. If I'm talking shit about you, but he doesn't say that. But if I'm talking about you and I'm talking about you in a negative light, go ahead and come on the show. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what I don't like about you, and you get a chance to respond. Nick, specifically for you, if you get a chance, go look up Baker Mayfield and Colin Cowherd's interview. Baker went on the program and very respectfully and very maturely had a conversation with Colin Cowherd where Colin Cowherd, Kenny, what's up, brother? Where Colin Cowherd addressed all of his issues coming down to the grabbing of the crotch and the fact that he was in the area where police were present and that he ran from the cops and certain things like that. And he addresses them. And he addresses all of them. And he talks about them clearly. And he even turns Colin Cowherd, who was completely against Baker Mayfield, he turns him into more of a believer. He still had his doubts about him, but he just showed his character as a person. And that's a big deal. And once I heard that as well, I jumped a lot more on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon. I know my buddy Joe Hackett has been on that bandwagon. He loves Baker Mayfield, but it's something that after I heard that and after I heard just the man that he is and the morals and just the way he composes himself and answers tough questions and wasn't really argumentative. He defended himself, but he wasn't going at Colin Cowherd. Neither of them were. It was a super professional, super fun interview. It's all right, Kenny. Better late than never, brother. But it was a super fun, super professional interview, and I thought it was awesome. Now, back to the original topic at hand, what I was getting at for the NFL. And Nick, keep on bringing the questions if you want, man. I love them. I love answering. Anyone that has any questions about any sports, it doesn't have to be on the topic I'm talking about. Throw it in there. I love talking about it and giving you my opinion. Yeah, I agree. Mayfield does need more of a chance. I think he'll develop pretty good. Cleveland needs to put weapons around him. They're doing a lot better. The defense is ready. The Cleveland defense is ready. Myles Garrett's a monster. They have good players on that defense. Losing Joe Thomas, which was the best left tackle in football, ultimately hurt that Cleveland line, and they could show it. They're showing it. That Cleveland line is hurting. But if they put more weapons around Baker Mayfield, he's going to be a talented dude. Jarvis Landry's a monster. Njoku's a very good tight end. They have weapons. So I'm excited to see what goes on there in Cleveland. But my original topic, I was talking. So initially, I think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC right now. I think they're going to beat the Jags. Even though the Jags have weapons, I like what the Chiefs have more. But the best team in football to me right now is the Los Angeles Rams. They are everything. Absolutely everything. They are unbelievable. Jared Goff has proven why he was picked in front of Carson Wentz. Not knocking Carson Wentz. Wentz is amazing. But Jared Goff is unbelievable. He made connections with guys who never thought that they were going to stick anywhere. He turned Robert Woods into a legitimate wide receiver I always liked Robert Woods coming out of USC. When he was on the Bills, he was underutilized. But he has Cooper Kupp making plays for him. He has Robert Woods. I'm missing a guy. There's another really big factor in that Rams receiving game. And he also has Gurley behind him. And that defense has Aaron Donald, the reigning defensive player of the year. It has Ndamukong Suh. It's just an unbelievable group of players. And I think the Rams are the complete team. And there's a chance that we really see the Rams come back, be the greatest show on turf again, like they were once a time with Isaac Bruce, Azahir Hakeem, Torrell, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, and really run into the championship this year. And if they get ahead of steam, I don't think anyone's going to stop the Rams. And that's a real big kudos to I forget his name, McVay. I think the young coach there, unbelievable coach, turned Jared Goff into a potential bust into a legitimate quarterback. Brady Quinn, Troy Smith, old college star, flunked out. What do I think happened in the NFL? I'll add to that list. I'll add Vince Young. I'll add Jamarcus Russell. I'll add even David Garrard, if you remember those guys. What do I think happened? It's just a tough thing. For me, when you go into college and everything's dumbed down in college, the coaches are everything. If you look at the systems are so much more simple. There's less verbiage. If you're a college football fan, you'll see those teams that hold up the billboards with the 4 logos on them, the pictures. One of those pictures means something. All the other 3 don't mean anything. But they have something to do with the play. The play calls are simple, where you're getting simple play calls that are maybe verbiage of maybe 5 words at max. You're going to the NFL and you're getting 20-word play calls. And they're meant to say what the line exactly is going to do, what every single receiver is going to do, what are the blocking responsibilities for the running back, and they're specific, and they can be changed, and one single word changes the whole entire play. And you're also asked to do a lot more in the NFL. You're not seeing college quarterbacks really walking up at the beginning of the play and changing the blocking scheme of their offensive line so that they can pick up a blitz. That's all built in by the coach. Coaches will do things in the college game where they have them set up and they have them in a formation and the quarterback looks like he's going to get the ball. And then all of a sudden he stops, looks over at the sideline. The whole entire team looks over at the sideline. And then the coach makes the real play call. That is used so that the coach can see what the defense is trying to do to them. In the NFL, that isn't up to the coach. The coach gives his play call. It's given into the quarterback. And then it's on the quarterback and the center to really make all the calls. The quarterback has audibles that he can make. He has things that he can do where, like I said, he walks up to the line and if he knows that if they're running the ball to the right and he needs to know every single spot that each player is going to go to, each lineman is going to go to the block, and he needs to understand where the hole's going to be that a potential linebacker or lineman can fill if they're doing something. He walks up there and he changes the blocking scheme so that they can do a better block. Guys like Brady Quinn, Troy Smith, Vince Young, those guys, Jamarcus Russell, that is the part that they couldn't get by. They all had physical traits. Everyone that makes it to the NFL level is physically gifted and are the best in the world at what they do. The difference is here. If you can't understand the playbook and you're behind on the playbook, especially at the quarterback position, you're done. And that's where I think a lot of these guys fail out. That's where I think they flunk. And that's the biggest part. And that's what you hear for a lot of guys. And it always drives me nuts when they say that they're simplifying the playbook for a player. That sucks because then that makes you much more vanilla as a team. If you have a real quarterback that you believe in, yes, you can change your scheme to fit his skills, but don't simple it down. If you have to dumb it down, then that quarterback isn't a quarterback. I guarantee Patrick Mahomes isn't getting a dumbed down version of what Andy Reid wants to do on the Chiefs. And Andy Reid is not a simple guy. If you watch that offense that the Chiefs run, there is a lot to do there. And in his second year, Patrick Mahomes is making all the right calls. He's setting up a lot of the right things. Oh, excuse me about that. Setting up a lot of the right things to get the blocks so that he can be helped. But it's on him. The kid can think, and it's pre-snap, it is during the play, and it is also post-snap, knowing what to do, knowing what's next. And then you have the greatest quarterbacks like your Tom Brady's. You have your who else? You have your Peyton Mannings. You even have your Eli Mannings. You have your Joe Flacco's, who isn't great, but is still a quarterback for a long time. And there's times where these guys get 3 plays. The coach will give out 3 plays, and the quarterback will go and at the line. This is the formation, but at the line, I will give you the best play to beat the defense, because he understands what the defense is trying to do to him just off of looking at it. And that's what the best quarterbacks can do. They can make those types of calls and really, really just pick apart a defense that way. And that is exactly where those guys, I believe, failed out. It's not because they didn't have physical skills. And it's also where I think you see guys like Terrell Pryor and not Tyrod Taylor, but I forget the other guys' names. But you see certain guys translate and go to receiver. Receiver's a much simpler position, and they're already physically gifted dudes. So they don't need to really understand as much. They need to understand what their responsibility is as a wide receiver, but they don't have to understand the whole entire defense. And that's why I think you see a lot of guys switch. Kenny, stop picking on Melissa. She's doing the best she can, okay? Well, I'm not talking about the Eagles, so she's not really interested. But to be quite honest, unless they get it going, there's not much to talk about with the Eagles. Carson Wentz needs to get it going for them because they don't look like the Super Bowl champions. And Eli, yeah, Eli does have 0 time in that pocket. And it's sad because they did try to address that line. I think getting rid of their center, Weston Richburg, was a big mistake. They should have paid him because he was an underrated player on the line. He's a very talented center. I'm happy with who the Jets got in Spencer Long, but I wanted them to go after Weston Richburg because I liked him. They picked up Hernandez as a left guard, who I thought was going to be much better than he is. He needs work. He's a rookie. Nate Solder, they made him the highest paid left tackle in football. He's getting beat a lot. He's a talented dude, but he's young, but he's old, and he's getting beat a lot. That right side of the line, I don't know what's going on, but they need to figure out something because, yes, he does have 0 time. They need to use Saquon Barkley in different ways to try and open up Eli, because Saquon Barkley is unbelievably talented. And if they use the run to open up and push the teams back, or maybe use more play action, which I know is difficult because they're getting onto Eli and they're getting back really quick, and it doesn't allow Saquon to get going. It doesn't allow Eli to get going. What they do have is the unbelievable talent of Odell Beckham, where they could just call a 3-step drop and a quick slant, and he catches it every time, and he'll get a first down without a doubt. So they have that going for them. But it's a really difficult situation over there with the Giants, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Jets and the Giants. I was just touching on their struggles there. But Melissa, I am never going to blame Wheezy for anything. I love Wheezy. She is an amazing woman. You watch her mouth. But all right, so for me, the best team is the Rams, and that actually definitely, you talking about Eli and the Giants leads me in. I'm going to talk about the 2 local teams. Giants, I just was talking about the offense and their deficiencies. The main issue is their defense too, because that defense 2 years ago was possibly the best defense in the NFL. This year, it's the same defense. Landon Collins, I don't know if he's still a little nicked up. He's not flying around like he did as a rookie. Still extremely talented at the safety position, but he's not looking like the dominant force that he did in the game changer. Janoris Jenkins needs to be better. He needs to be the lockdown corner again because he's not being that guy. Mike Leppert, what's up, man? How are you? The linebacking core is strong for the first time ever, but they're not rushing the passer. And that's always their bread and butter. When the Giants are good, they rush the passer. They get guys off their spot, and they make it easier on their secondary to play. They are not rushing the passer, and it's making everything more difficult. And that defense is making it difficult on the offense because Eli now has to score almost every time he touches the ball because he's worried that that defense isn't going to buckle up. So that is the Giants' problems. And it's a real one. And I like the Giants. I think I picked them to go 9-7 this year. I think that's a good roster. I just think they need to get more out of them. Pat Shurmur needs to be more creative on the offensive end. Talking about my Jets, we touched on Sam Darnold. I do like Sam Darnold. I like the weapons that the Jets have. The weapons that the Jets have are underrated. Quincy Enunwa is showing that he is possibly a legitimate 1 in the league, definitely a legitimate 2. He's a game breaker. He's basically a tight end that can catch the ball and run like a running back and runs routes like a receiver. Robbie Anderson is a big play threat. He hasn't got going yet. Terrell Pryor, was a reclamation project. I don't think that he is going to come back for the Jets, but he was a good try by Mike McCagnon. And Jermaine Kearse just needs to get it going. Yeah, they need to find him more. He's a good possession receiver. They need to get it going. At tight end, Chris Herndon is showing that he might want to be the guy. He's made some plays, but I need to see more. The backfield has Bilal Powell, Isaiah Crowell. They're nice players, but they're not amazing. Le'Veon Bell was linked to possibly a trade to the Jets or coming to them. Look at my blog post that I just did about Le'Veon Bell and the reasons why the Jets should and shouldn't go after him. If you want to go to my blog, it's sportsopinionsac.blogspot.com. And I just had a post about Le'Veon Bell and his potential to the Jets. So if you want to read up more on that, you can. But their line is their weak point. Like I said, I like Spencer Long at center, but the rest of the line is kind of meh at best. They're not getting any better. They get beat by simple stunts by defenses. They really don't do much well. Honestly, they don't open up many lanes for runs. Bilal Powell does a lot of that on his own. And maybe it doesn't help that Sam Darnold doesn't walk up and help them by making the alternate calls that I'm talking about. I think that's just a rookie not knowing what calls to make yet. But I hope we get to see that towards the end of the season where Darnold is walking up more and calling out the blitzes and trying to help them in terms of blocking schemes. Defense, it's sad to hear that defensive coordinator Casey Rogers, it was reported today that he is suffering from, they only said serious medical illness. I hope everything's okay. 2 weeks ago, it was reported that Todd Bowles was taking back the defensive play calling. I was pissed about that because I thought Casey Rogers called good games. Now I see why. He was trying to take stresses off him. I think this is something that's been going on for a few weeks, and it's finally coming to a front. Thoughts and prayers go out with Casey Rogers that he gets better and he can come back and he can do what he loves and coaches football. But overall, that defense is looking good. They gave up points early last week. They gave up points late to the Browns and lost that game. But overall, they were good defense. I like Leonard Williams on the line. They need to still find better pass rushers. But Jamal Adams is a monster. Marcus May knocked some rust off last week. He'll be a better guy. Williams, they paid him a lot of money for corner. He scares me. He gets beat a lot on crossing routes. I know he got beat on that one deep route. Everyone gets beat on deep routes. That doesn't make me nervous. But he gets beat a lot on crossing routes. And that is the NFL today. He needs to show me more. He's not a number one corner right now. Mo Claiborne is playing pretty well. Buster Screen's playing well when he's not holding somebody. He holds all the time. He gets called for a defensive hold minimum once a game, and it drives me nuts. But it's really something that I don't know. I don't know if the Jets are going to be able to recover, but if they do, it is something that it would be amazing if they do recover and if they do continue to get better. And I'm hoping that Sam Darnold can get better and that everything will work out there with the Jets land. Earl Thomas and his exit. I thought Earl Thomas and his exit was absolutely awesome. And anyone that was watching on Facebook, I don't know what the hell just happened. It told me I need to log back in to continue, and then it kicked me out. I don't know if the live stream is still going on. I'm going to try and restart one here, but I don't know what happened there. So I'm restarting it now. Again, my apologies for anyone that was watching that way. Again, I'm going to try and restart it. But YouTube and Spreaker, you're still here. What's up, everybody? I'm going to continue to talk a little bit locally. Basketball and hockey are starting up again. Basketball preseason, hockey preseason is upon us. Yeah, Facebook is having problems right now. So I might not be able to get the Facebook live back. But anyone that's watching, YouTube, Spreaker, listening, thank you very much. But whatchamacallit? My wife's texting me. It kicked me out. But anyway, oh, I'm back. Okay, never mind. Apparently I'm back. Hello, everybody on Facebook. Thank you for sticking with me. I know it just cut out, but hello again. Anyway, basketball is back. Hockey is back. The local teams, the Knicks, the The Knicks have promising young players. The Nets have promising young players. The Knicks are without Kristaps Porzingis. The Nets just brought in some new pieces, but I'm back on Facebook. Welcome, everyone. I am back on Facebook. And if you are coming back to me live on Facebook, I want to apologize for keep them. That's really bad. That's bad for the Knicks. If Kyrie goes and stays in Boston, I know Knicks fans were really looking forward to getting Kyrie Irving. It doesn't look like he's coming to the Knicks. They have Kevin Knox. They have another rookie. And it's really going to be difficult if you're a Knicks fan this year. Nick, what's up, buddy? I'm happy you're on your account now. But it's really going to be difficult if you're a Knicks fan this year. It's going to be tough. And updates for the Yankees. Yankees are now down 5-2. Voit singled to right. Gardner scored. Gregorius grounded into a fielder's choice. Stanton scored 5-2 in the Yankees game right now. Yeah, I agree, Kenny. He's staying in Boston. He just made that announcement that Kyrie is going to stay. If anyone pays attention, my buddy Brandon Scoop broke news that Houston may be in the running to trade with Minnesota's Jimmy Butler. He was the first one to say it. Also, my buddy Brandon Scoopy Robinson, first one to talk about Kevin Durant, saying that he wants to go to the Lakers. Look out for that happening next year. And also, Courtney, what's going on? Hello again. Tara. Hey, Tara, what's going on? But he broke that. And he also was the first person to break the Kobe news that Kobe was going to the Big Three. So definitely go follow Brandon Scoopy Robinson. Go on Twitter at ScoopB. He's a big deal. You're going to want to know the guy. But anyway, Katie, hello again. But in terms of the Knicks again, they're not getting Kyrie. They're not getting Jimmy Butler. Kevin Durant isn't coming. So what do they got? What do the Knicks have to look forward to next year? You know what they have to look forward to? They have to look forward to Kevin Knox developing. They have to look forward to Kristaps Porzingis coming back. And they have to look forward to, I don't even know what. They have to go out and find a point guard, whether it's drafting one, whether it's tanking this year and drafting a point guard, which is something they could do, or it's figuring out a Walker's available, and he would do very nicely with Kristaps Porzingis, and if Kevin Knox can develop. That's a decent big three. Or they can go after a guy like John Wall. I know John Wall was big in Washington. My boy Scoop B is big on John Wall. But they can get him. Washington is a good team, but if they're not going anywhere early, they're going to want to be sellers. So they give away a good amount of picks. But in order to partner a real superstar up with Porzingis, it's going to be worth it. And if KZ goes, going to be a stacked team, 5 championships in 7 years, without a doubt. Without a doubt. This year, Nick, it's funny you say that. I think the Lakers are my favorite in the West. And Golden State is my second favorite team, even without Kevin Durant. I'm telling you right now. LeBron James is the best player on the planet. Let's match up the teams right away. Let's match them up. LeBron and KD, LeBron's better than Kevin Durant. I don't care what anybody says. Kevin Durant is the second best player on the planet. But LeBron is better than him. What's up, Coach Pick? How's it going, man? And we'll match him up too. Curry's better than Rondo and Lonzo Ball, but Rondo's annoying. He's going to annoy Curry. So that will happen. Lance Stevenson will completely and totally hound and annoy Klay Thompson. I'm not saying they're going to stop these guys, but they're going to do enough to be better than them. And then let's look at what else is happening. JaVale McGee is there. JaVale McGee. He's nothing special, right? But they do have Beasley, who scored very well for the Knicks last year, and he could still score in bunches. So you got to watch out for Beasley. They still have Lonzo. They still have Kyle Kuzma. They still have Brandon Ingram. That team is a very good team and a young team. And if they can grow with LeBron James, that's a really good team. And you don't think the report was from Brandon Scoopy Robinson. The report was that he would leave next season. He apparently there's inside sources that his group wants to go over to LA and he wants to go over to LA. And just imagine a tandem of LeBron and KD. It would be stupid. And the fact that KD would go over as a free agent and LA won't have to give anything up for him, it would be ridiculous. But that's really where I think that's going to happen. And the Lakers are going to be a really good team. But back to the Knicks. They need to focus on Porzingis. They need to focus on Knox, and they need to focus on eventually finding their point guard of the future. In terms of Nets, the Nets they're hard to figure out. They picked up Jared Dudley, picked up Ed Davis. They still have D'Angelo Russell. They still have a lot of players. They're young. They're developing. I think they could be a good team. I think they could win half the games this year. I think they can win 41 games. Maybe battle for an 8th seed. But they need better players. If D'Angelo Russell doesn't step up and become the superstar, if Karis LeVert doesn't become the scorer that everyone thought they could be, if Jared Allen doesn't take the next step as a big man on the inside, he put on some more weight. He needs to take the next step as being a dominant big man. If Rondae Hollis-Jefferson doesn't develop a better jumper, then the Nets are going to sit in complacency and middling. They're more attractive to big players. Jimmy Butler mentioned them as a destination, but they will be attracted to big players because Kenny Atkinson is a very good head coach and he's attractive. Sean Marks is creating a good culture there, but they're going to sit in limbo if they can't attract big names, if they can't make a trade for a decent player and get someone over there. They did a good job in their first 2 years putting teams like Washington in cap hell by signing Otto Porter to a absolutely massive offer sheet, making Washington match. They put Miami in cap hell for a little bit by signing his face. He was a decent player. He's one of their starters, but they signed him to an outrageous deal that Miami matched. They eventually got Allen Crabbe from Portland because they made Portland oversign for him and their cap was massive. So Sean Marks is doing good things, but the Nets need to do more in order to what's the best way to put it? They need to do more in order to take the next step and really compete. They're nowhere near Toronto. They're nowhere near Boston. They're not near Washington yet. They're light years away from the Sixers, who could end up we could end up seeing a Sixers and Lakers dynasty battle or Boston Lakers go at it again for the next 5-6 years, which would be outrageously fun to watch. But the Nets still have a lot of work to do. I'm confident that I'm going to watch much better basketball this year, but they still have a lot of work to do. Quick touch on hockey. Hockey's back. The Islanders gave away John Tavares. Islanders don't matter. I'm sorry. Respect the Islanders, but they still have decent players, but the Islanders are not going to be a good team this year. It's sad. The one thing that they can look forward to is they're going to play a few games in Nassau again this year, and they're getting their own stadium built over at Belmont, which is awesome. The fans of the Islanders in Long Island deserve that, and I really hope that now that they picked up, drawing a blank, the former Devils GM that put together the dynasty teams that won Stanley Cups, he's running the hockey operations there, and it would be great if Islanders can get back on track. The Rangers, I don't think are going to be great. I think they're going to be good. They're going to play competitive hockey, but I don't know how good they're going to be. They are still in rebuild mode, so it's going to be tough for them. My Devils are the one team. They have the reigning Hart Trophy champion on their team in Taylor Hall. They have good young players, and I think they're going to be awesome. And I'm excited for my Devils. I think they can compete for a Stanley Cup, and that's exciting. Nick, what'd you say? Ever since Braun left Miami, they haven't been anything. It shows. Now watch Cleveland knock them close as well. Miami's a weird situation because the culture Pat Riley built there, even without LeBron, was tough to squash. They still feel like they're winners out in Miami. And that goes a long way. When your whole entire franchise, every player that walks in there believes that they're walking into a winning team, regardless of the talent, they're going to win games. And we saw that. Dion Waiters went nuts and brought that team one of the best second half comebacks into the playoffs. They're still a playoff team. People forget. No, they're not championships, but they're a playoff team. And for a team that lost the greatest player on the planet to still be in the playoff hunt year after year after year, that's a huge testament to Eric Spoelstra, that he is as good of a coach as everyone said he was, to Pat Riley and the culture he created there, and also the players, the Goran Dragic's, the Dion Waiters, the Dwayne Wades, who are going back there for one more year, Those type of players that just don't give up. And Hassan Whiteside, who is an absolute beast down low. Cleveland, I'm not discounting Cleveland. I'm not saying that they're out. Kevin Love is a great player. He played third fiddle because he had to, but Kevin Love is a great player. J.R. Smith's not a bad player, and it's a contract year. You know J.R. is going to play well in a contract year. J.R. is not going to mess around. He's going to get his money. So it wouldn't surprise me if Cleveland's a decent team. I don't think they're going to be great. They lost the best player in the world, but they're still going to be a decent team. So it's going to be fun to watch. The NBA is going to be fun. I think hockey is going to be fun. NFL is still ridiculous. And this live stream is just about over. I want to thank everyone that watched, everyone that listened on Facebook Live. I know we had that little mouth. I really appreciate it. And everyone on Spreaker, all awesome. As you guys probably know, I'm Alex Cuesta, the host. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @A_Cuesta30. Find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30, on Instagram at SportsOpinions30. Look up the Facebook page and listen to the podcast, all the episodes. We're doing a few things now. Every week, my buddy Wally, the Million Man, comes on and he gives betting advice on the NFL games that week. He bets those games. He's great. He was 3-0 last week. I was 2-2. We give out our bets. Listen in for that if you want to make some money or want to learn something about betting. Definitely go listen. I do something with from the jetpress.com, Louis Tirado Jr. He's a site expert. We give our 2 players for Jets fantasy that you should look out for that week. Definitely take a check out on that. And I have great guests every week that come on weekly onto the show. So make sure you check out that and listen to that as well. And also visit the blog. I'm starting to write again, starting to really revamp that. So I would love to see some more traffic on there. If you have any topics you want to hear me talk on or write about, please let me know. Anyone that has my number, text me, leave comments, leave tweets, something. I will definitely look into it and write about it. And thank you for watching. If you want to listen to the podcast or anything from this live stream or in the past, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, YouTube, Google Play Music, Apple Podcasts, just search Sports Opinions Podcast. We are there. And again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to the live stream. This is Alex Cuesta of the Sports Opinions Podcast. Have a good one. Go Yankees. I hope they come back.